after too.
Okay, yeah, because it's recorded, right?
Right.
So we make sure we get the link and we cross promote it.
Okay.
Okay, so we are live, and I will let in our guests and take it away. Go ahead, Carissa.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ancestral Healing and the Mother Wound with Dr. Lotte Valentin. Thank you all for joining us for this interactive Q&A program where we have the opportunity to ask questions to Dr. Lotte directly. Let me introduce Dr. Lotte. Dr. Lotte Valentin is a naturopathic doctor, author, evidential psychic medium, medical medium, ancestral healer, and international keynote speaker. After experiencing 2 near-death out-of-body experiences, which we've heard on Stream Plus, they're so incredible, Dr. Lotte became clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient, which guided her to attend medical school at the age of 54. She authored the award-winning book, Med School After Menopause, The Journey of My Soul, an inspirational tale of transformation, healing, and spirituality. Dr. Lotte is also the creator of programs like Healing Your Ancestral Mother Wound, that's on Stream Plus, and Unlocking the Doorway to Self-Realization, produced in collaboration with HemiSync. She leads workshops on ancestral healing for the Theosophical Society, and online, and has been a guest on the Shift Network. Additionally, she is an active member of Humanity's team. Her Stream Plus course is entitled Healing the Mother Wound. I apologize for not pronouncing that and practicing. Welcome, Dr. Lotte. Where are you connecting from today?
I am connecting from Tucson, Arizona.
Amazing. I love Tucson. So today, this is an opportunity for all of you to ask questions about ancestral healing and the mother wound. And we're also going to do a practice. So how long will that practice take, Dr. Lotte?
It takes about 10, 11 minutes.
Okay. 10, 11 minutes. Wonderful. So I'll get into questions, but if at any time you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat, and then we will get your questions answered. So what is ancestral healing and why is it important?
Well, that is a good question. So I'm going to say in today's world, it couldn't be any more important because ancestral healing refers to what we inherit from the ancestors. And we know that actually inherit trauma on the DNA. Not only do we inherit trauma on the DNA, but we also get entangled via, I'm going to say, quantum mechanics, quantum physics. And also, we have our own lived experiences of how we were treated. Did we like mom? Did we get along with mom? Right? And we get these, what's called a mother wound of whenever there is an issue about how we were raised, but it also tracks back to how she was raised. So when we look at a mother wound, if we had a poor relationship with our mom and our mom really couldn't see us and hear us, we know we have a mother wound. We have a problem with getting along with mom. But there's a lot of people that say, I had a wonderful mom. And, we were like a Leave It to Beaver family. Everything was perfect. I already know what they're struggling with because when we have that loving, nurturing mother, it's like the wounds get more hidden. They're like underneath the surface. So typically people will have issues with They'll have an issue with their partner, a relationship issue. They might feel like they're the ones doing all the dishes. They're the ones running all the errands. And their partner is not helping out that much. And that's a really common one for women. And when you take a look at that and you take a look at where you came from and how you were raised, it often it comes down to that you were literally trained to be a people pleaser as a child, because when you have that, many times when you have that loving and nurturing mom, you earn the love from doing things right, from helping with the dishes, setting the table, cleaning your room, don't speak back to mom, right? And then when you grow up, guess what? You invite that right back into your life via your partner. And it's the same thing when you have issues with your mother and you weren't seen and heard, and mom maybe was verbally abusive and yelled at you a lot. Well, you grow up, and that's now an unresolved wound between you and your mom. And what happens? Well, you rejected that. Whatever you reject is also repeating. So many times you invite a partner back into your relationship that behaves similarly to your mother. And so you still have that same kind of relationship, but now it's with your partner. So there are many, many different ways that we inherit the wounds from mom. And sometimes we don't know we have them, and other times it's pretty clear we have an issue.
Yeah. And so when I'm asking you the question about ancestral healing, you go straight to the mother. And so that's how you are combining that, because is that the important one to heal?
I'm going to say everything starts with mom. So
Hmm.
that's why in ancestral healing, we look at the relationship with mom first. Once you start understanding and create that awareness for, who was my mom and why is it that I'm struggling with these issues, that's when you can start healing that relationship. And once you heal that, you've peeled the onion back one layer, right? And sometimes there's many layers with mom, and you keep peeling that onion with mom, and then eventually you'll get down to, problem number 6 or struggle number 6. And that may come from somewhere else. That may come from dad, or it may come from the grandparents. It may come from your aunts and uncles. It may come from friends of the family. So now it becomes more, we look at it, the way I look at it, it's more quantum physics, because I work with ancestral healing in a very different way. And I incorporate kind of psychotherapy, counseling, but also mediumship, intuition, and shamanism. Because in order to heal, we have to take a look at all the different aspects. So sometimes, even though talk therapy can be very good and it can resolve many different issues, but we're also kind of spinning in that same energy field of talking about it, bringing it up. But, what is it that is causing us to have the issue in the first place? And once you can uncover that, that's when you can really create healing in your life.
I see. So, say you have someone coming to you, would this be a group session or an individual session? And then, how many of these sessions would it take to heal the ancestral wounds?
So it depends on how many wounds you have. So sometimes I have worked with people, I do one session if I work one on one, and they say, I have a problem. I haven't spoken to my mom in 10 years, or I haven't spoken to one of my children in 5 years. And this is much more common than we think. And once we go through and do the healing, so it doesn't matter if you take my course on the mother wound, which is, of course, way longer than the hour I work with people one on one, but it's to uncover the reason why. Why is it that you didn't speak to your mom or your child? Well, many times we say, well, my mom is crazy, or my mom doesn't hear me. My mom is a lunatic, right? And I don't know how to even reach my mom. But the funny part about this is the quantum entanglement, because once we do that healing, once we go through, once we talk through it, we say, okay, tell me about mom. What was mom like? What did you like? What didn't you like? What is it that's what you're struggling with now? Okay, no communication. Communication is broken. And then we go through the whole thing, and then it always ends with the healing. And my course also ends with healing, and I take you through the whole, from the beginning to the end for you to solve an issue. So I work with you, in this course as well, which ends with the healing. But once we do the healing, right, I call it a soul to soul communication, and it's guided. So I guide you in that and create, the sentence structure and take you on a meditative journey, so to speak, or guided meditation. And you just fill in that little blank of, I'm now releasing whatever wound it is that you're carrying. But once we create that healing, this is the interesting part. I have worked with so many people that say, I haven't had any communication with my mom for, 10 years. We do the healing. Mom has no idea that this healing is taking place. And then a week or two goes by, and guess what happens? Mom calls. I'm just checking in. I haven't spoken to you in so long. And they have no idea that this one person did the healing. The same thing when people go through and do the healing for their children, and then the child has no idea, and then 2 weeks goes by, I get an email and it says, guess what just called? My child. So I'm going to say that is the quantum entanglement of how we are connected via physics, that I'm going to say Einstein called it the spooky action at a distance, because he already knew that there were things going on out there and he could not explain it, right? But that's also what we see when we see people feeling the healing, but they had no idea that it was taking place, right? And all of a sudden, that communication is restored. And this one person really comes to mind, who hadn't spoken to her mom for 10 years. They became best buddies. And she was also going through some things in her own life. And her mom reached out and actually started helping her and supporting her as she transitioned into a new phase. So, I mean, it's just it's like a miracle that happens behind the scenes. And that is the quantum entanglement. And when you look at the people that received the Nobel Prize in physics, I think it was like 2022 or 2023, and there were 3 physicists that got the Nobel Prize. And it was for the entanglement. So if you think of it as, let's do an apple experiment. So let's say I have 2 apples in the room I am in here, and you have 2 apples in your room. And we're really good at throwing apples. So I throw my apple and it's landing in Chicago in a specific park. And you throw your apple and it lands right next to my apple in the same park in Chicago. Those 2 apples, one from me and one from you, are now entangled, right? So this is what they got their Nobel Prize for. So we know these 2 apples met now. So they're entangled. But the apple you still have in your room and the apple I have in my room that haven't met, they're now entangled. Because my apple was buddies with the apple I threw to Chicago, and your apple was buddies with a friend with the apple that you threw. And so they are now entangled. So that means that my apple that I have here is entangled with your apple in your room. And whatever happens to my apple is going to affect your apple. And that is what they received the Nobel Prize for. But now think about this. Think about this and your ancestors. Think about this and your soul family members, right? And your extended family. Think about how we are truly connected, because what we do is going to affect the other people. And I'm going to say that is exactly what happens when I hear these stories of people who have lost communication, and we just do the healing. We work on that one person, creates healing for themselves, but that reverberates and ripples out through the entire soul family, whether they are in the spirit world or still here on earth, because we are all connected. And that's what's so amazing about this work, because you can see how things are really shifting for people. They shift for themselves, they shift for other family members as well.
That's incredible. And I love hearing your stories from your clients. I wanted to ask about quantum entanglement. Is this a positive thing?
Well, yes, because we are all, I mean, the way I look at it is like we're all connected. So, during one of my near-death experiences, I saw the grid around the earth, and it was like light nodes, which I'm going to call the soul nodes. But that grid, they told me that everything is connected. We're all connected to each other, and we're all connected to this grid. And it couldn't make any more sense, because when you work now and science is catching up with this and quantum physics, we can see, we truly are affecting everything else. And we know that from, if you're mad at someone or that person is going to feel, you don't even have to open your mouth. You already know the person is mad. Or if somebody is, looking at you and it's like, wow, I really want to get to know you. I feel like connected to you. We feel that love, right? We
Mhm.
feel energy from other people just going to the grocery store. We take a distance. Oh, that person's energy is feeling, right? A lot of people, I can say most people will feel the energy like that. We knew when we were little if mom and dad were mad, right? Or if we should ask for ice cream or not ask for ice cream. So it's intuitive. We all have that ability.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. Because I asked that question because I wonder, it doesn't seem similar, but I was thinking about cord attachments.
Mhm.
And maybe if we have entanglement with a family member and it's affecting us, it's affecting our lives, maybe when you do your healing, that can be a little bit less intense or not
Mhm.
affecting us as much. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We are entangled with our relatives and, cutting the cords. And I do that
Mhm.
as part of my ceremony
Mm,
in the course as well. It's because you have to cut the cords of that entanglement and say, okay, this is it. I'm creating my boundary now, right? I
I
do a lot of
see.
boundary work in this course as well because
Okay.
our boundaries are very important because when people cross our boundaries, we're giving up part of ourselves. And many times people weren't taught to have boundaries, especially if they grew up, in the 1950s, 1960s. I mean, even probably the 1970s, because I'm going to say that's something that came along maybe in the 80s, 90s, 2000s to create proper boundaries. Because people who grew up in the people pleasing era of the 1950s, 1960s,
Hmm.
or 1940s, especially women, weren't allowed to have boundaries. You don't speak back, you
Hmm.
behave nicely, right? It's part of that culture, it's part of that era. So the
It's
boundary
like an
structures,
act, like
yes,
you want everyone to think that the family is perfect no matter what.
yes, the facade that the family projects outward, and that you're perfect. But I'm going to say, the people that were born starting in the 1980s and on, they were the first generation that grew up with computers. And
Mm,
so, right, they were the first ones that had information at their fingertips. So when you think back of the previous generation, so it's taken a huge quantum leap between the people that were born even in the 1970s to compared to in the 1980s and on, because they have the information. I'm going to say the people that are in their 30s today have the information that most people didn't get until they were in their 60s, because they had to go to a library or take a course at a university to learn about something. Now we have social media that teaches us about the importance of boundary structure, the importance of healing yourself and taking care of yourself. And, they have much more awareness about that than the previous generations. But we also have to take that into account when we create healing. So when we heal ourselves, we also take a look at our ancestors. Who were they? What were their struggles? Well, if they had struggles, if your mom wasn't loved and appreciated and seen and heard, how would she know to nurture you?
yeah.
Right? So it trickles down through the generations. But the quantum leap, I'm going to say, happens with anybody born after the 1980 because they have much more awareness about these things. So,
Mm,
but again, it's heal, once we heal ourselves, that energy is going to ripple through the entire soul family. And not only that, but you heal yourself, you're going to feel better about yourself. You have a
mm.
happier life and being more fulfilled.
That's interesting. And I wonder if there's also a healing as a mother becomes a grandmother or a grandparent, where they start to open up their heart to their grandchild and start loving in a new way. At least that has been something that I've observed in my own life.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's very common. So, the people that may not have been the nicest or too strict when, maybe the person, the client themselves were little, and then they have their own kids, and then they watch their own parents that they really have a mother wound and a father wound with being so loving and nice to their grandchildren or to their own children.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that's pretty common because I think, as we age, we all learn, or most people learn,
Hmm.
and so they become softer. But that's also an opportunity to create healing for yourself if you have a parent like that maybe wasn't the nicest when you were little. But this is an opportunity then to also create healing for that, right? Because now you can see they have softened, so maybe they are more receptive. And then, if you can create healing for yourself and release those wounds, they're not going to get passed on because now they're already been healed. So when we work with ancestral healing, we heal ourselves, but we also heal backwards in time and forwards in time. So that the people that come after us, we try to release these wounds so that the people that come after us don't have to experience the same issue, because the issues get passed down. And I've seen it across 4 or 5 generations. The same thing happens to that person. And then, the great grandma and mom and client and daughter all struggle with the exact same issue because it just gets passed down. Every woman, in this particular case, it was every woman got the husband either left them or died.
Oh, interesting. So
And it's the
abandonment.
same, right? It's the same pattern of being left alone to raise the children. And it just
Mm,
happens over and over again. So, when you look at that, what pattern? We all carry patterns. We all
yeah.
carry wounds from our ancestors. It's just a matter of figuring out, well, where does this one come from? Why do I have a fear of bridges? Or why is it that I feel like I'm going to die if I eat, leftover from my fridge that sat there for one day? It's theoretically you're not going to die. It's only been there for like 12 hours. But there is, people have a lot of weird fears sometimes, right?
Mm,
So then ask yourself, well, who in my family died of food poisoning? Or, I mean, where's that coming from? That fear has its roots somewhere. Either you experienced it yourself, but if
mhm,
you didn't have food poisoning and almost die, which would then create that fear, right? Then why is it that you have that fear? Where did it come from?
mhm,
So you have to separate out your own traumatic events, right?
mhm.
If you're afraid of sirens, were you in a car accident or almost died, or it's just some kind of unreasonable fear that you're struggling with? Well, it came from somewhere. Somebody had a fear of dying when they heard sirens, and it's just a
Mhm.
matter of figuring out who was that person.
Yeah, amazing. I'm just going to share and be vulnerable here. One of the things that I think I'm afraid of because I have a procrastination of throwing out food. I have a hard time throwing away food. Like even if I have a little bit left, I'll
Mhm.
save it. Like a couple bites or one bite, I'll
Yeah.
save it in the fridge.
Yeah.
And then, it's so interesting, but I think it's a past pattern of starvation, of lack, of limited resources that is
Mhm.
within me, and I'm repeating that pattern in my life.
Yeah, and patterns get passed down exactly in a certain way. So depending on what child you are in your family, if you're the only child from these parents, or if you're child number 3, do you have older brothers and sisters?
Hmm.
Because the patterns typically get passed down in a very particular way as well. But it's really interesting because as soon as you say that, what comes to my mind is, well, who lived through the war? Who didn't have
Yeah,
food, right?
yeah.
Somebody struggled with that, of having enough. And
Hmm.
then automatically you're going to take on that pattern, specifically if you're a certain child order as
I
well.
see. I
Hmm.
see. Okay, I just want to mention a couple comments from the chat. So says, my mom fears throwing out food too. There was food scarcity
Yeah.
for her. And then Christine says, same, Anne. And then I do have a question. My mother's mother was sadly not a loving mother at all, whereas my mother is the complete opposite,
Hmm.
where she has always been and still is very unconditionally loving. I'm
Hmm.
curious how the pattern changed for my mom, because I think you hinted to this before,
Hmm.
how sometimes the person could just
Hmm.
consciously choose the opposite.
Yeah, I'm going to say, it also has to do with the incarnation.
Okay.
Was that mom the first child, or was she a child further down? Did she have older siblings?
So,
Okay.
Anne's she's gonna
Yeah.
put it in the chat.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. First.
She was the first.
Uh-huh.
Okay, interesting. And then did she have younger siblings?
Yes, younger
Hmm.
siblings.
Hmm. Yeah. So it is interesting, right? Because it doesn't have to be that way, and it depends what you take on. So
Mm-hmm.
she probably took on some other things from that mom, and she somehow managed to work that out, or she got love from somewhere else. She could have gotten love from, the father or the next door neighbor, her best friend's mom, but there was somebody probably that did give her gave her mom love so that she could become that person. So she wasn't just in that environment where her mom didn't treat her nicely, right? So she managed to get that love from somewhere else and turn that around for herself. But so it doesn't mean you have to get it, right? It's just a common pattern that you see. But it could be, anything that comes from anybody in the family or even friends or family. So if grandpa had a staff of 20 that and he was a slave driver, like he really worked his people and they really didn't like him, you can be entangled with those people as well. So it really spreads out to anybody because remember quantum physics, that grandfather knew all those people. That means you're
Mhm.
also entangled with them. But
Wow, that's
but we
deep.
didn't take everything, right? And so it depends how many kids there are in the family. Well, are you the first kid, second kid, third kid, or the 10th kid, right? And I'm going to say the further down you go, many times, it doesn't have to be this way, but many times it goes further out in the family. So the first two or three kids are more focused on mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. But then if you're child number seven, you may be taking, your uncle's wound. But you're not going to take, right? So if you look at your family and you're thinking, oh my goodness, there's 100 wounds, you probably only got three, right? Because you said, well, I'm going to take these three when I incarnate, and my siblings are going to take those three, and the rest we're going to pass down to the next generation. So it's not like you're going to get all the wounds. You just focus on, what is it that's difficult for you, or what are your fears? What are your struggles? And just focus on that. Forget everything else or the other people. Because that's all you have to do is focus on your issues and create healing for that.
Interesting. So we have a comment from Anne's that says she has a close bond with her father before they divorced at age 9. And then Christine said she resonated with the having a loving mother, but her mother before that was not loving. So thank you for
Yeah.
clarifying that. Wonderful. So, are there any other questions? If there's another question, go ahead and raise your hand or put it in the chat. And if not, what I would like to do is for you to do the healing, the
Oh,
ancestral healing, if that sounds
yeah.
good.
Yeah. So let me take you on a journey. So when I do the journeys during my course, we actually have music in the background and it's much slower, but we're just doing a little bit of a demo here so you kind of get an idea. Because when we go into this more meditative state, that's also when we start remembering things and things are coming to the surface. So I'm going to take you on a journey, what I call a journey into the mother wound. All right. So I would like you to just find a comfortable position. You can either lie down or sit comfortably in your chair. And if your legs are crossed, just uncross them so that both feet are touching the ground or the floor. And now go ahead, take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And again, take another deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And let all your worries go. They will still be there waiting for you when we return. And allow your shoulders to just drop and soften. Feel your sits bones connect to the chair or ground or surface below you. And let that space between your eyebrows soften. And relax your jaw. Release the tongue from the roof of your mouth. And allow yourself to just become a receptive vessel. Now, in your inner vision, you find yourself sitting in a meadow at a crest of a gentle hill. The grass beneath you is soft and cool. The air carries the scent of wildflowers and warm sunshine. And you notice a great ancient tree beside you. And it's big and wide and strong and sturdy. Its branches are reaching out like arms of protection. And you lean back against its trunk, feeling its strength, its patience, and its deep knowing. And it creates a feeling of safety that begins to move through your body. So let your breath become soft, natural, unhurried. And as you rest here, your attention is drawn upward into the sky. A magnificent mother bird, radiant and shimmering with hues of rose gold and emerald, glides down from the sky. And she lands gently right beside you. And she already knows you. In fact, she has always known you. And with tenderness, she bows her head to you, inviting you to climb upon her back. And you place your hands upon her warm feathers, and you sit down on her back, as though you've been doing this for many, many years and many times before. And in one graceful movement, she lifts into the sky, and you feel the wind, the openness, and the freedom. You rise above the meadow, higher and higher, completely held and very safely. And you ask her now, silently or aloud, show me what I am ready to remember. Show me what will help me heal my mother line. And the world below shifts. The air becomes soft and shimmering with light. You find yourself arriving at a moment from your childhood. One your heart is ready to revisit. You do not need to judge or analyze. Simply observe. Maybe you see yourself as a young child. Notice, what is the emotion here? Is it longing, confusion, trying to be good, trying to be strong, trying to be invincible? Just notice. Ask gently, what did this younger me need that they did not receive? Allow the answer to come softly, a word, a feeling, a knowing. Now your spirit bird carries you a little forward in time, and another memory rises, not for pain, but for recognition, a pattern, a way you learn to care for others or hide yourself. or stay small, or stay strong. Simply notice without changing anything, without pushing anything away. You may place a hand over your heart. Feel your own presence within yourself. And now the spirit bird begins descending, guiding you toward a great tree you recognize from deep within your soul lineage. Its trunk opens to reveal a spiral staircase lit by warm candlelight. And you step from the bird's back and enter. And with each step downward, you move closer to your matrilineal memory, the stories of the mothers before you. At the base of the stairs, a guide is waiting. This may be an ancestor, a wise spirit, or an animal protector. Just notice who is there. This guide leads you to a pool of still water, and the surface shines like a moonlight. And when you gaze into it, you see reflections of your mother, her mother, and the mothers before her. Not as people who failed, but as women who carried what they were given. You whisper to the water, "Show me the pattern I am holding." Let the knowing rise softly, naturally, like memory returning to its original home. Now take a slow breath in and exhale gently. Your guide places a small glowing light into your hands. And this is your capacity to heal this lineage. Feel it warm your palms, travel into your chest, expand through your whole being. Let this truth settle in your bones. The pattern did not begin with you, and you are the one who can transform it. It is now time to begin the journey back. Your guide leads you back up the staircase, one step at a time, carrying this newfound awareness. The bird awaits you at the top. You gently return to her back, and she lifts you into the sky once more. Together you glide back to the meadow, the old, sturdy, peaceful tree. You feel the earth beneath you again. Your heart is full of love and peace. Your awareness is clear. You have returned, bringing wisdom with you from your ancestors. The wisdom woven within your wounds, carried through your ancestors, now rises for healing. And when you are ready, you may gently open your eyes if they were closed.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for that beautiful journey, Dr. Lotte.
You're very welcome.
Would you consider that a shamanic journey meditation?
I call them shamanic journey meditation because as a shaman, you journey on your own and you see things typically, or you experience things. But if you have never done shamanic work or are familiar with that, it's hard to do it and just get all this information. So I call these journeys guided shamanic meditation journeys because it incorporates that other world that we can't see. And, everything has meaning in the end. We all have spirit animals. We all have spirit guides. We all have that with us. And many times people aren't aware that they do have spirit guides. They have spirit guides that they don't know and were not related to the family that are just guiding them through life. But we also all have spirit animals. And some people are aware of their spirit animal. They might all of a sudden have felt the animal or seen the animal. And the spirit guides and the spirit animals, we have lots of them. And I'm going to say there is probably, one or two that is our kind of, I call them the main spirit guide and the main spirit animal, but we all have them. And it's just a matter of learning to tune into it.
That's beautiful. And if anyone has any comments or questions about that shamanic journey meditation, we'd love to hear from you. We only have a few minutes left. This time goes by really fast because it's only 45 minutes. And we did have a comment about the shamanic journey. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Lotte.
You're so welcome.
Nice.
And we do a lot of those during the course, but it's with music and a little bit slower. Because we have more time in the course.
Yeah, and the music is nice too. It can take you
Yeah.
deeper, has its own frequency. Wonderful. So I do have another comment. Thank you for this beautiful journey. This meditation took me very deep, and I was able to see in my mind's eye all the things you talked about. I love that you reference a tree. I felt like I was actually flying with the wind in my face.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a true
Yeah.
journey, I would
Yeah, I
say.
was gonna say it's a journey because it comes naturally, and we all
Hmm.
have it. It's just a matter of practicing. But
Hmm.
in the course we do several journeys, so it comes naturally after you've done a couple of guided ones. It will start happening just listening to music on your own, or being in the quiet.
Interesting. So I'll share a little bit of what I saw from the journey. So the bird was actually an eagle. That was interesting. But I put a little feathers because you were saying these like purple, and so I had like it was like they had a few colored
Mm-hmm.
feathers. And then I saw in the tree, I saw my grandmother on my father's side with like really bright red lipstick, and she was just gorgeous. I mean, she was maybe like in her 20s as a
Mm-hmm.
guide for me. And then also a squirrel came in.
All right. You should look up the meaning of that, and or you can go back into the meditation, right, and say, "Hey, squirrel, what do you help me with?"
Uh-huh.
And see
Yeah,
what information you get. Or you can look it up. You can Google meaning of squirrel spirit animal and see what that says. If you don't get an answer when you ask yourself.
interesting.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we need help in the beginning when we're getting used to, working with the invisible world. That is only visible when we're in meditation or journeying, right? But when we're talking right now, it's not like we see the spirit animal sitting on the couch, right?
Hmm.
But when you go into a meditation, you might see, like you just did, you saw the squirrel. So,
Hmm.
yeah, you can ask the squirrel after we're done to here today what the squirrel helps you with and see if you get an answer.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that suggestion. And anyone else, also, if you had any spirit animals join you or any messages, dive deeper into that.
Mhm.
And Debbie asks, how much is your course? Well, the course is free. If you're a Stream Plus member, we have it on Stream Plus. So I don't know if you have that link, Garth, to the course, but we could put it in the chat there. So wonderful. I mean, it's incredible that, yeah. So you are a member. So it's there on Stream Plus. Aren't you lucky? Aren't we all lucky? It's like,
Yep.
this is like worth $1,000 or
Yep.
more to me. The value
Yeah.
of that is priceless. It's like
Yeah.
incredible. So
But I'm here
then
as
you
a
can,
healer, so it's important that we can heal people because I'm here as a healer in this life, and I think it's important that people have access to it, and so that they can create healing in their own lives. Because for every person that goes through a course like this, they create healing for themselves, but that also raises that person's consciousness because you create a different awareness, but you are connected to everybody else, and so you help raise consciousness in the world. So basically, by doing the healing for ourselves, we make a better world. But all we have to do is just focus on ourselves, and that's the beautiful part of all of this. We can't make mom change, or mom may already be in the spirit world. We can't change that, but we can heal ourselves. And with
mm.
that and the interconnectedness of everything, we heal the world one by one.
Oh, that's so beautiful. What a beautiful way to end. So, Debbie, I don't have that link right now, but what you can do on Stream Plus, you can look up, she's the author, Dr. Lotte Valentin, and you can look up her courses by her name. And if you need help, you can contact support at Humanities Team. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for Ancestral Healing and the Mother Wound. I wanted to thank Steve Farrell, Dee Meyer, and the production team, Jim Gray, Garth Catterall, and the rest of Humanities team. And thank you, Dr. Lottie, for this wonderful shamanic journey and for answering our audience's questions.
Oh, you're so welcome. My pleasure.